Can this get done? How do we make it happen? KD, Kyrie in a Lakers uniform.
Okay, and I know Brez wants to know how Lou Dort can become a Laker in that deal also.
Yes, that too.
We'll get to
21 million
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if you're talking KD and Kyrie.
And, yes.
Coming, and. That's an and. Okay, I'm going to throw out a number, $81 million. That's what the two of them make combined.
And we only had as in I'm part of the team. You know. Lakers only had $6.5 million to start.
To spend on a free agent.
81
yes.
and a half million.
Also, coincidentally, Allie's annual salary here at Spectrum Sports Net. So,
I know.
Let's not tell the world.
I want her agent.
What else? 81 million. I mean, that's how do you get them over here to LA? Like, what do you see? What do you envision?
It's not impossible mathematically.
Yeah,
okay.
That's two players.
Well, yeah, AD and LeBron, right?
Oh.
Yeah, so
sure
okay, they've got to send out $65 million just to make it work under the rules. Okay. Forget about convincing Sean Marks that it makes sense and he's willing to pull the trigger. But for it to even pass muster, they have to send out $65 million. Okay. The problem with the Lakers is that they're so top-heavy. We were talking about that. 3 guys up at the top, the rest are making chump change. And there's nobody in the middle to really throw into a deal to make it worthwhile to another GM. So are you looking at AD plus Russ? Okay, you can get up there. So AD is at 38, Russ is at 47, but Russ is not a high-value contract at $47 million, even in the last year. So now you're talking about a third team and maybe even a fourth team, because Sean Marks is not going to want Russ, I would imagine. So,
is that what you mean by he's not a high-value contract?
Right.
The stats don't back up the dollars in your mind.
He is not worth $47 million for what he brings to the court currently. Correct.
Okay, now if a third team is involved, that could make this thing a little bit more complicated, a little bit more protracted. If the Lakers are going to try to get both these guys, which is definitely, as you mentioned, a big order, it's going to take some time. This is not going to happen
tomorrow,
on the morning of July 1st.
Right.
I think we're safe with saying that.
But well, first of all, trades can't happen until July 6th. But
you can agree to them, of course.
Yeah, in principle.
In principle.
But this is the kind of thing that takes its time percolating. They'll bring in the third team. They'll bring in the fourth team. They'll talk to the league. The league will say prank call or hang up before they call back a couple of times to convince them, no, we're really trying to do this. I swear, we're not pranking you. That might take place more toward the end of July, I would think. I would say that this would take a little bit of time to put together after the moratorium. But the problem is, I think the rest of the league has pretty much hit the pause button until everything with KD shakes loose.
He's the domino. He's the big domino. Do you still think that the Lakers are in the Kyrie Irving sweepstakes?
I think they are. Now, we're just talking Kyrie by himself. Jovan on our podcast thought it was about 60 or 70% that he would end up with the Lakers. I'm going to be a little more conservative. Good news for Laker fans. The front office historically has made big trades happen. Just Anthony Davis, just a few short years ago. Pau Gasol in 2008, really making Kobe happier with the franchise. And why not? They went on to win 2 championships together. So the Laker front office has a knack for unveiling big trades. It's just, the Lakers, like Larry mentioned, they don't have a ton of guys making middle money or young talent besides THT making decent money that you can push off in a trade to make the math work. The NBA doesn't like when you acquire a $37 million player, a.k.a. Kyrie, and send out $2 million. Yeah, you can't do that. There's very few examples where you can do that. So what the Lakers have to send out over $30 million in contracts, and I'm not sure that the Nets want what the Lakers have, which is mostly established veteran players making big bucks.